President Trump spent last night rallying supporters in Iowa, a state he won by 10 points in 2016, but is now seen as a toss-up by the nonpartisan Cook Political Report. The state also has one of the closest watched and most expensive Senate races in the country, with more than $100 million in outside money pouring in. Recent polling shows the incumbent Republican in a dead heat. Andrew Bott of Iowa PBS has our report.
We are seeing more money pumped into these races this year than we've seen in presidential election cycles of the past. It is outrageous.
The tone of Senator Joni Ernst's recent campaign rally in Iowa epitomized Republican fears just 3 weeks before Election Day. Growing concern about a blue tsunami of campaign funds aimed at Iowa's junior senator. Facing her first re-election since winning Iowa by more than 9% and catapulting onto the national political stage in 2014, Ernst is framing her current race as a litmus test with rural voters.
It is important that you listen not just to people that live in the metro areas, but also hear from those in the most rural counties, like in my area down in southwest Iowa. Oftentimes they feel neglected. And most of the times, and even looking at the map where Miss Greenfield has been and where she hasn't been, the neediest, poorest counties are those that she has not visited.
Nice to meet you.
Mary.
Hi, Mary. I love Waverly.
Hi, Mike.
With Senator Ernst spending crucial October campaign days in Washington for Supreme Court hearings, challenger Teresa Greenfield has made a concerted effort to blunt the Republican criticism that she spends too much time safely campaigning online during the pandemic.
We certainly have worked hard to get all over this state. We've been physically all over the state, but virtually all over the state, too.
And she has increased her trips into some of those rural Iowa counties previously won by both Barack Obama and Donald Trump.
How are you? Hello. Are you? Did you already get a job?
Greenfield, a former businesswoman and real estate executive, has never held elected office, but was an early fundraising choice in 2019 by the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee. Her recent third quarter haul of more than $28 million shattered Iowa record books. On a recent swing to Waverly, Iowa, Greenfield emphasized Main Street business issues amidst a global pandemic and economic uncertainty.
They're in dire shape.
And Greenfield is on the attack, claiming her own farm roots and working to undercut Ernst's strength in farm country by blasting the senator's work with Iowa's ethanol industry in an ongoing battle with the Trump administration's EPA and oil companies. The tense dynamic between Ernst and Greenfield on topics of dark money and the farm economy boiled over in their statewide debate on Iowa PBS.
Heck, a bushel of corn right now is about $3.30. That's going out of business prices. Senator Ernst, she sold out farmers for her big oil dumps.
On one hand, she's saying, we're not going to have dark money in this campaign. She's got the other hand behind her saying, please hand me some dark money.
On commercial airwaves, the messaging contrast from the 2014 Republican primary to the 2020 general election is stark.
I grew up castrating hogs on an Iowa farm.
6 years ago, State Senator Joni Ernst promised to make them squeal in Washington and take aim at the Affordable Care Act.
And once she sets her sights on Obamacare, Joni's gonna unload.
But my sister always had my back.
This fall, her healthcare messaging is softer, and Ernst is promising to defend a key tenet of the ACA, leading Democrats to cry foul.
Because no American should ever be denied coverage because of a pre-existing condition. Just because you supported the repeal of the Affordable Care Act doesn't mean you're against protecting people with pre-existing conditions.
For Greenfield, protecting the ACA and Social Security are defining themes in the final weeks.
And I stay focused on the issues we all care the most about. And I'll tell you what, it's healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. Certainly this pandemic and the economic crisis.
It's a Senate seat many Iowa Republicans never thought would be a tight race to the finish line, with only weeks before Election Day. Reporting from Iowa for the PBS NewsHour, I'm Andrew Bott.